Yeah, you don't want any water that says purified. If it says natural, then you're good. Purified means recycled.
I like water how I like my women, purified, recycled.
Hey, Alan. What's going on, everybody on stream? Sorry about the confusion, guys. I wasn't going to stream today, but then my appointment got moved to this morning instead of the afternoon, so the stream is back on. Honestly, I didn't have to stream today. It was very, very slow. Almost all the things that I have on my watch list haven't done anything today. Pretty much sideways. REGN looks good. JMA, you see that? Nice little bounce finally.
Is it bouncing?
Yeah, nice little day. Up 3% almost.
Yep.
Nasty day yesterday, then it recovered. DRE just straight up since I mentioned this in the summary, if you guys traded that. Eli Lilly still going. Lumen still going. There's our targets coming in on Lumen. Snow still looks pretty good, consolidating above support. BGCP ripping. Next target on that is, I believe, 680. So watch out for 680 on that. DoorDash coming back to retest the wedge. So that should be pretty bullish. Neo really does not like that pivot at 4450. So I would not be bullish on Neo until it breaks that pivot. Like I always tell you guys, these long pivots are like magnets. The longer the pivot, the stronger of a magnet it is. And you can see how this pivot kind of looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. And it's not being widely respected. I mean, it has these kind of decent moves, like these bounces here and there. But it kind of looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. But then look at what happens when it sucks price into it. So, these long pivots, just understand that they're going to be very, very strong. So you typically do not want to front run those pivots. Which is another reason why I wanted to take profit on Neo around here. Because I thought this was going to be very choppy. And then if we did break 43, there's a resistance right above you at 44.50. So once we break that, there's really nothing above you. There's not a whole lot of value in this area. There's no pivots in your way. There's no VWAPs until you get back to like 55. So we've got a lot of room to run. There's no need to front run that level. What is the pivot indicator? It's the Oasis trading suite. It has the pivots inside of that one. You can see that it's coloring my candles. It gives you these buy the dip arrows, sell the rally arrows as well. The pivots are like, they're basically support and resistance levels, but they can be used a little bit more sophisticated than that. GameStop's actually getting a little bit of a bounce here. Hey, missing in action, what's going on? Lavender, you said, can you look at Snapchat and QFin? I'll take a look. Snapchat is one that haunts me because this would have been one of my biggest trades of the year if I would have held on to my shares. I was selling puts naked, anticipating to run a wheel. So like I get a sign, then I sell calls. What happened was I sold the puts naked. I think they were 57s. They were 57s. I was anticipating a breakout of this level right here. And then we failed this little trend line here. Nuked. And these shares were quite underwater. So I had a lot of shares that were already about $7 to $8 per share underwater, which is a big, big loss. So I decided to cut them when they started to bounce. Well, no, I did get assigned, and then it started to bounce, and then I cut them. If I would have just let them continue to bounce, this could have been a massive, massive trade, because I would have been up about $4 to $5 per share, and I had lots of shares. So that would have been probably my biggest trade of the year. But regardless, it looks pretty decent. You're breaking out of this downtrend here. This could be a massive bulldog. You could consider this a camel because it has that double back. So you have a double back, double bottom, so it gives you that M pattern. So a camel is just an M pattern that creates like a little bull flag here. So you have an M pattern and then a bull flag. So if we break this pivot, which is basically the back of the bulldog, once again, going back to what I told you guys earlier, the long pivots are like magnets. You see how long this pivot is, and it is widely respected. So once we break that, it should be pretty bullish. So above like 63.50. Doesn't look too bad. QFin, let me take a look at QFin. Pretty bullish, actually. Very, very, very nice chart on the weekly. Beautiful bull flag breakout here. You saw the break of that pivot, and then you just went vertical. The Momo was signaling that this was a bear trap, and then you also had a buy the dip signal on the OTS. So all the indicators were telling you to buy, and now it's ripping, what, 50%, 40% higher? It's pretty hard to buy it up here if you're not already in, but if it pulled back to trend or pulled back to a horizontal support, you could look to buy it, but you can't really buy here. It's too high. Maybe a gap fill, maybe a support retest, maybe even a trend test. This is creating a bullish fork. So if you go to like a lower time frame, you can see that we initially had this trend here, but now we have this trend here. It's actually creating a multi-fork where you have even a stronger trend forming. You see how it's just creating stronger and stronger trends? So when this happens, if you're not in the trade, you want to look for retest of those trends. And if you don't hold those trends, you want to look for the next trend. So like if you break this one, you don't want to touch this until it retests this one. And if you break that one, you don't want to touch it until it retests that one. It's hard to see that on the daily, obviously, but if you go down to a lower time frame, you can see what I'm talking about. Hey, Brandon, you said any thoughts on the CPI coming out tomorrow morning? I don't follow that stuff, really. I've always been a technical trader, not a fundamental trader. So I basically let other people follow that for me, and then I just see what the buzz is on Twitter. I do want to get more involved in all the fundamental stuff, but I don't look at it right now. I feel that especially in times like right now, when the market is not really following those fundamental metrics, it's not that big of a deal. Because we've had a lot of things come out that should have been bullish or should have been bearish, and they were the opposite. Because the market just doesn't really care right now. There's a lot of new traders, there's a lot of new money in the market that doesn't know what a CPI is. You know what I mean? So there is probably billions, honestly, billions of dollars of new money from these retail traders They have no idea what these fundamental announcements are. So until the VIX stabilizes, until the new money kind of settles, the fundamental announcements are not going to be as powerful. The biggest one that I pay attention to, and it's basically the only one I pay attention to, is the rates. When the rates change, I pay attention. Another one is unemployment. I pay attention to unemployment as well. All the other small ones I don't really pay attention to. Lavin, you said he took some profits today and letting the rest run on QFIN. Nice. So you're already in. That's good. You also said Genus trying to break major downtrend. So Genus was one of the meme stocks, I believe. Yeah, so you're breaking a pivot here. You broke this little downtrend. Massive bull div came in. You had a big bull div there. Called the bottom beautifully. Broke the 50-day to confirm the bottom. Broke the pivot to confirm the momentum. Looks pretty good. Probably going to go for a gap fill. Right around 254. Take a look at the scanners here. So biggest call flow today, we have Clove, which was getting a lot of call flow earlier this week. 600,000 calls. They're also getting a lot of puts though. If you look at the put to call ratio, a 0.48 means that you're getting a decent amount of puts as well. CLF, which I believe is that steel? Cleveland Cliffs. This is a big move here. I know Connor was looking at this one in Discord. What do they do? Let me see. It's an iron ore mining company.
Damn, I was in that fucking last week, man.
Look at that move today, 15%. Buy the dip signal came in on... Sorry, I know you guys can't see. Let me pull it up. Buy the dip signal came in on the OTS, broke the pivot. Beautiful bounce off the 50-day moving average. Very, very clean breakout. Keep an eye on steel. If Cleveland Cliffs is ripping... Yeah, look at steel. So steel typically follows. They're all kind of in the same sector. And steel looks really good here. Most likely we'll go back to the pivot around 2880.
STLD is another one that follows.
Yeah, there was another one. What was it? US Concrete, USCR. Look at that one. Gapped up huge today. Huge gap. Fucking 25, 26%. Not today, sorry, 2 days ago.
See Smile Direct Club.
Is it finally moving? Oh, yeah. I'm watching the weekly chart on that. If it can break that weekly pivot, I'm interested. I'm glad I closed those leaps for a nice gain because they got wrecked on that pivot. What was the other one you said, Fall Steel?
STLD.
Oh yeah, Steel Dynamics. Yeah, that one looks decent, but it's pulling back. I think X looks like a lagger. Could definitely climb. You bullish on Tilray? I don't really like wheat stocks, to be honest, man. I try to stay out of wheat stocks. They're not... They're too risky for my style of trading. I do like the chart, though. Technically, if this wasn't a wheat stock, I really like this chart. I like the break of the falling wedge. This is one of my favorite patterns. I mean, we went over this last stream. I go over this a lot. This is, besides the bulldogs, this is like my favorite pattern in trading. You have a falling wedge with a bull div. And then you have the break of the 50-day moving average. You can take it when it breaks the wedge. But if it's below the 50, you can get faked out a lot. If it breaks the 50, you have a very high chance that it's going to continue higher. And I've showed you guys numerous charts like this over the past few weeks. So this day right here on June 2nd, when it broke the 50-day, that's a long signal right there. And now we have the 21 crossing the 50, which is confirming long-term momentum. So that is a very beautiful chart. I do like that. The next target I would say on that is around 25. and then around 36. Hey, Crypto, you said, can you check Turex for me? Turex. Doesn't look too good, man. Doesn't look too good. I had this charted out. I think you asked about it before. I'm not sure when I charted it, but it had this level here, which ended up turning into resistance. So once that broke, that became very strong resistance. You're also below the 50-day, so kind of the same thing that I was just talking about, where you have those like falling wedges. So it's kind of in a falling wedge, but it's still below the 50-day. So until you get back above the 50, it's going to be very weak. So I wouldn't really be interested in this until it broke like 971. It looks like it's going to go lower. Probably going to an all-time low. I highly recommend you guys use the 50-day moving average. It's one of the simplest things you can add to your chart that works on any time frame that will help you a lot in your trading. Yeah, it's not a clean chart, is it, Jared? It's pretty nasty. I definitely would not trade this. Would not trade that. I'm trying to avoid any charts that are below the 50-day on all my stock plays. And the past few stock plays that I've taken have been pretty good, except for Costco. I got a little high entry on Costco. I thought it was going to finally break this ascending triangle, so we bought anticipating the breakout, and of course it didn't. It didn't work, so we paid the price on that. I'm still holding this. If it loses probably like $5 more, I'll probably get out. But I still like it right here. It's holding support, but it's also resisting VWAP. So most likely I'd say we're going to get stopped out on this, but I'll still give it a chance. INSG was the exact setup that I was telling you guys about. We got in this a little late because it caught my radar a couple days late. It hit my radar on the short squeeze scanner. It probably was hitting my radar down here. I just didn't see it. But this was like your perfect long entry right here, somewhere around like $9. I got in a little higher. I got in around like $9.60, but we're already up about $1 a share, which is pretty good. But same exact setup that I was talking about. Falling wedge. You don't have a bull div on this one, but you don't really need it. That just adds a bonus. Break out of the wedge. Turns white on the OTS, meaning the buyers are stepping in. And then you have the break of the 50-day moving average. And then as even more confirmation, we have the 21 crossing the 50-day. So this looks very good. Maybe a short-term pullback back towards our entry. Because you are resisting VWAP here. But anything above like $9 is very bullish. This is one of the most shorted stocks in the market right now. 33% short float, 15 days to cover. Lavender, you said your moving averages move around as you zoom in and out of the chart. Is that normal or just because it's a shitty indicator? They should not move. The value should be the same. If you're on TradingView, it shouldn't do that. Might be a bug. Also, make sure you have scale price chart only on. That will help. Hey, Oreo, you said, why is silver so painful? It's just it's a rough trade, man. I hear you. We're all of us in the Discord are in silver, and we're just waiting for this thing to pop, and it just doesn't want to. I think it's almost there, but it's almost been there for months, and it keeps rejecting, so it's playing with us. But if you look at the XAG, the spot price, you're on a monthly pivot and a weekly pivot. If you can break these pivots, it can soar very quickly. Hey, Frank, what's going on? Yeah, turn on scale price chart only and make sure you're using like the regular moving averages, not some moving average made by somebody. Like use the ones that are built into TradingView. Yeah, I'll take a look at Kato's, Zach. Let's see. Not looking too bad. You're breaking the downtrend from the high. You're also putting in a double bottom. You're also back above the 50-day. It also came back to retest the 50-day earlier today. That's the low of the day. So as long as the low of today holds for the rest of the week, I think that's pretty bullish. It's a pretty choppy stock, though. I tried to trade this not too long ago. The weekly doesn't look too bad. Nice double bottom on the weekly. Hey, Poncho, what's going on? Sorry, let's go back to the scanners. So CLF is getting a lot of calls today, not a lot of puts. I typically like to look for it like below 0.2, 0.3 to make sure there's not a lot of puts coming in. Wish is getting a lot of calls, not a lot of puts. Tilray getting a lot of calls. Workhorse, UWMC. We saw this one probably a few weeks ago. It was getting a lot of call flow. CLNE also getting a lot of calls, which is an energy company. Not a whole lot going on the block trade scanners today. And really not a whole lot going on the biggest gainers. The biggest gainer of the day on the big companies is only up 12%. So, and that's CLF. Next up would be BNTX. They're not doing too bad. I think we saw some call flow on them earlier this week, if I remember correctly. ARGX also moving. QFin is on there. Tilray's on there. So a lot of the ones you guys have mentioned. VIPS. This is one that likes to get pumped by a lot of the smaller groups. I've seen this get pumped before. This looks like it's sold off with the Viacom liquidation event. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see my chart. This had that sell-off there with the Viacom news, where the telecom companies got wrecked. SQM, we haven't seen that name in a while. This was the lithium company that I traded last year. If you guys are long-time members of the Discord, this was one of the biggest plays that we had of 2020. I told you guys to hop in this around, I think it was July to August, and we rode that thing all the way up to like 44, 45 on that monthly pivot. I could have held it all the way up to 60, but I closed it on that monthly pivot. I think we were up like 50% plus on shares, so I wanted to go ahead and close that. Oh, you guys can't see again, sorry. Terrible streamer. This is a lithium company. So back when Neo was ripping, Workhorse, Tesla, Xpeng, Li Automotive, all those like clean energy vehicle companies, I thought that because they were pumping, the lithium companies should start pumping as well. And they were lagging pretty hard. SQM is one of the biggest in South America. So that's why I chose that one. Chart is beautiful. It's actually putting in a monthly bulldog, so this could go higher. Look at this perfect bulldog on the monthly. I'd say if you start holding back above like 50, this can definitely go higher. I might end up buying some shares on this for my long-term account. By the way, if you guys didn't see, we did add a new analyst to our Discord group today. Here is his Twitter if you guys want to check him out. Jolly B. So he's gonna be joining us. He has his own channel. He's gonna be posting his thoughts and his analysis, anything that he finds that looks good. So if you guys are members of the Discord, just be sure to check out his channel. It is right below Illinois' channel. I'm actually going to move that below Stonks. There you go. He actually posted something earlier today, so check that out. And what he posted, we actually mentioned on the scanner yesterday. That was getting a ton of call flow yesterday. So it's good that we get some confluence from his analysis. Let me actually fix his channel real quick. Sorry, I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'll be finished in 1 minute. All right. What's your Discord server? If you go to Oasis Trading, I'll send you a link. OasisTrading.io/Discord. You can look at the details. INO hitting the short squeeze scanner here. Not a lot of short float. 25%, not too bad. 10 days to cover. It does have the short squeeze price action chart that we like to see. Falling wedge. So when you see short squeezes, this is like the best chart you can have. It's kind of hard. You got to put this on logarithmic here. But you have that wedge breakout, break above the 50, like we were saying. And now we're pumping, right? So if something is doing this and it has high short float, that's usually a really good position to take on shares or maybe some lottos. Definitely not too bad. This is kind of a bigger company, 2 billion market cap. It's not huge, but it's not going to squeeze extremely hard. Another one on here that actually has a lot of short float, TRIT. This thing's pumping today, so it's already starting to squeeze. 31% short float, 20 days to cover. That's even higher than the INSG position that we took. Smaller smaller market cap too, 694 million. So this company could easily short squeeze the hell out of this down move here. Is this a SPAC? This looks like a SPAC. TRIT was the one I was talking about. It's already doing exactly what we like to see. Falling wedge break, back above the 50-day, back above the local resistance. That's definitely one to keep an eye on. Could be very high risk, but treat all the short squeeze plays as high risk. Treat them as lottos, basically. That's a very good lotto. Keep an eye on that. I think it's a SPAC, though. That's the only downside. SPACs are dog shit. Very interesting seeing a massive short float on a SPAC. Here's another one, Tootsie Roll. That's funny, TR. TR starting to squeeze today. 25% short float with 13 days to cover. So definitely could run. Little different of a pattern here, but kind of the same. Depends on where you take your levels from. But you could consider this a wedge here. It's actually pretty clean. Slight bull dip, it looks like. Breaking out above the 50, that's what we like to see. Breaking the prior resistance, yep. So this checks all the boxes as well. So keep an eye on that, TR. I need to make like another section for these. Let me do that. Short squeeze. Color these differently as well. What else is on here? ESPR is on here. So ESPR is starting to look like what we kind of want to see, but it's pretty bad. It's almost got, yeah, see, you can't really draw a clean trend line. Maybe on logarithmic? Let's see. No, it's still not very clean. Yeah, I'd probably avoid this one. This one looks a little weak. Wow, though. Massive short float. 49% short float with 19 days to cover. So if this does get a lot of volume, keep an eye on this. Watch this on the volume scanner. It's not really getting a lot of volume right now. Only 400,000 shares. What's their float? Let me see. Their share float is 28 million shares. So you'd want to see a decent amount of volume coming into that.
I see LME starting to climb again.
What is that?
The clean energy that was in the scan.
Oh, CLNE. Yeah, yeah. Geo, I think I called this one out earlier this week. Let's see how that's doing. Oh, God. Look at Geo, guys. I called this out, I think it was yesterday or the day before. It's up 42% today, and that's even with the massive pullback. It went up 72%. So look at this trade, actually, for you guys on stream. Breaking a massive downtrend, or almost, right? Breaking the local downtrend. But you have that nice candle above the 50-day. So that's really nice confirmation there. This candle right here. Right above the 50-day. And then look at what it did. I mean, they're not all going to do that, but that just shows you the power of breaking the 50-day when you're breaking a downtrend. That sucks we didn't trade that one because I remember calling this out this week. BGS, I think this was one of the older ones. Let's see. This doesn't look too bad. Breaking a local pivot. 26% short float, 10 days to cover, 2 billion market cap, so pretty standard. Relative volume today is 4.6, so it's getting decent volume. That's pretty much it on the short squeeze scanner. We have ASO, another one that we called out before. This one is a slow mover though. And then Huya. So Huya, look at what Huya's doing. Exactly what we talk about. Breaking the downtrend, breaking the wedge, closing above the 50. Actually, sorry, I think this is the OTS doing that. Yes, that's actually a red candle, so never mind. If this was a big green candle, this would be a beautiful chart. But it came all the way back, so not too pretty. That one has a 30% short float, 6 days to cover. So the days to cover is pretty low. I typically want to see like at least 10. Relative volume is 16, so getting a lot of volume. And that's it for the short squeeze scanner. A lot of blank check companies are coming up for some reason. You mean on the short squeeze scanner? Yeah, it kind of looks for shitty companies. That's kind of what it does. It looks for companies that are at least 300 million market cap, $3 price or higher, and then I have some little filters in there to filter out all the shitty ones. I look for high short float, high days to cover, decent relative volume, stuff like that. I think I have a share float filter in that as well. If you guys are in the Discord, if you guys have trade ideas, I can literally copy and paste my alerts to you guys. So if you want my scanners, if you're in the Discord, just let me know. I tried to do it with BTT and it didn't work, but I think I can figure it out. Do you think all these squeeze stocks are extended? Only the major ones, like GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, Nokia, like the big boys. The meme stocks, those are not really... They are short squeeze stocks, but they're a different category. Those are like the meme companies. Chen, you said, how would you say the US dollar and market will go if Feds announce rate increasing? Well, I don't think they're going to announce rate increasing because they've said many times that the rates are going to stay at 0 for at least the next year. But if they do increase the rates, it's most likely going to hurt the equities market, which it almost always does. We'll have to wait and see. It's usually a short-term effect that goes away after a few months. But yeah, if they weirdly increase the rates when they said they weren't going to, it would definitely hurt the equities market, I think. SPWR, let me take a look. SPWR almost has that chart that we like to see. Falling wedge break. It's failing the 50-day though, so you need that 50-day to break before you have confirmation. You always look for the 50-day to break on a falling wedge.
Wow, Zach, good spot. Amazon daily buy.
Amazon daily buy on the bot or the OTS?
On the bot.
Nice, yeah, buy coming in. So you gotta be careful with this buy though, because this buy is right on resistance. So I'd probably wait for a little bit of confirmation on that.
Yeah, it's in a 15-minute sell right now. It could just be retracing its bid dead.
A lot of big tech are switching into buys. Microsoft is in a buy. Apple, not yet. Facebook is in a buy. Netflix is in a sell.
So you said Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook are all in daily buys?
I might have just found a bug. One sec. Netflix is not... Oh, never mind. It's not a bug. Never mind. Oh, yeah. Microsoft buy. Apple, not yet. Facebook buy. Netflix still in a buy, but it looks like it's about to switch into a sell. Amazon turning into a buy. And then Tesla in a buy, but it was at resistance. So these are the buys that I tell you guys about that you have to watch out for. When you're putting in an accumulation range and it puts in a buy signal on the top of the range, You have to watch out for those because those will be fake outs. And there's no way for me to really fix that because if I try to fix that, it will make all the really good signals very late. So you just kind of have to put some human intuition into that. What is ES doing? Is it still in a buy? Yeah, ES is still in a buy, but it's hitting resistance. NASDAQ still in a buy. Russell buy looks pretty strong. And then Dow Jones buy, but it's hitting resistance and it took profit. So it looks like a lot of these are rolling over. The markets are selling off right now pretty hard. Yeah, way below VWAP. VWAP 4229. We're currently at 4218. Not looking too good. He said, Deja, look at DMTK breaking out of a major wedge, just reclaimed the 50-day. DMTK. Let me see. Yeah, so similar price chart that we like to see. Break that wedge. And then we have that bull div at the bottom. We have the break of the 50-day. That's really clean. Hitting resistance, though, on VWAP, 44. You can break above 44. You could probably get to 55. Is that a short squeeze company, though? Let's see. Typically, patterns like this, you want to see a high short float. 20% short float, which is pretty decent. Days to cover is 5.8, so not too high. The higher the days to cover, the more it can squeeze. What do I think about Wish? We called out Wish earlier this week. It was hitting all my scanners. I think a couple of the guys in the Discord are trading them. Oh, they had a massive day. What did I tell you guys? Yesterday in Discord, I told you if it could break that 50, it could get back to that old trend line. And I think that's a logarithmic trend line.
Did it come back from its open, or I saw it fell pretty hard?
Yeah, it fell really hard. It hit VWAP around 14, and then it nuked.
You mentioned it yesterday, and I bought those June 18th 15s, and I sold it at open in the money.
Nice, yeah. The 15s were. Is that what it did? Did it gap up all the way in the nuke?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it literally sold off the entire day. Yep. Yeah, it had a really clean chart. Same exact chart I've been preaching all day, guys. You see a lot of these charts right now because we've been seeing a lot of sell-offs throughout all sectors. So when you have sell-offs across the board, this is the one pattern you want to watch on basically every chart. You have the falling wedge, and then if you have like an oscillator, you can see bull divs as well. So like the Momo had a bull div here. You're losing price, but you're gaining momentum. So even if you didn't have scanners, if you somehow got very lucky and found this chart before it broke out, that's a beautiful entry. Because you're losing price, but you're gaining momentum. So you kind of just have to buy it while it's going down and trust that the bull div happens. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't matter. That's what stop losses are for. You could have taken this here and then stop loss like $7 or below, right? And then your obvious targets would have been the gap fill, which got hit yesterday, and then VWAP, which is right around 14. But what do I think about Wish right now? I don't like it anymore. You already hit your targets, and you're back below the 50, and you're back inside the wedge. So I don't like it. The trade is already over. Until you look at like a higher time frame. Look at THYAO. Not too bad of a chart, breaking a very long-term downtrend, even coming back to retest it and finding value. So very strong. A lot of value around this kind of 12 to 13 area long-term. Going down to a shorter time frame. Nice break of resistance here. Nice break of VWAP. Next major level would be that pivot around $15. So if you could break 15, most likely going to continue higher. Big supports around 14 and 1360. What about FSR, Fisker? Fisker playing out the same pattern that we've been talking about, breaking a downtrend, breaking the 50-day. So your entry would have been on this candle here, or you could have entered when it broke the downtrend, which is somewhere around here. So anything above this level here is very bullish. And then we have resistance coming in right around here. So right around $20. And then 23.50 would be the breakout target. And then the very far retrace target would be like 28. You can't buy it here though, it's too high, right? Your entry should have been down here. So any pullback kind of in that area would be a better entry. But yeah, that's a really good bar there. Maybe pull back to support. Could give you a decent entry. Did I do Bitcoin yet? I haven't talked about Bitcoin yet. They're having a very good day, but it's mainly fundamentally driven. El Salvador, I think it was El Salvador, said they're accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. The first country in the world, I believe, to do that. So that was very bullish news. It's funny that we always say that technicals line up with fundamentals, and the chart was technically very sound. Had a very beautiful chart because of that daily close yesterday. The daily close yesterday gave you that beautiful doji, that beautiful dragonfly. So then you have the news come out right after that to confirm the dragonfly, and then we ripped all the way back into the pivot. So pretty bullish for now. Short term, little bearish, failing the pivot. But if we can get back above the pivot, above like 36.8, I would like my my bullish case for that. Did I see AEMD? What is that? Let's see. Oh god, no, I didn't see that. 400%? The fuck?
Came up with something that can remove COVID from your bloodstream.
Oh god. They only went up 400% with that? That sounds like it's actually a low move.
Right.
Is it like, are they like in FDA trials?
I don't know. The news came out yesterday.
Interesting. Hey FX, what's going on, man? Root seems to follow Bitcoin every time. Root, we actually called out Root yesterday on the scanners. Big move. What did I tell you guys? The next targets were the pivots. Look at that, Zach. Zach, you asked me for targets yesterday. Hopefully you held that, man. Topped out on those pivots perfectly. Here's a screenshot for you guys. Like I always say, man, long pivots, they're like magnets. Those pivots sucked the price all the way back into them. And then what else have we been covering all day today? Look at this. Look at what Root did yesterday. It gave you the falling wedge break with the confirmation, with the close above the 50-day moving average. This is one of my favorite reversal patterns. One of the best patterns you can trade. Not only that, it gave you a bull div. Oh, you mean Riot? Well, good thing you called out Root, because I wanted to go over that chart. But yeah, Riot. So the funny thing about all these stocks, we had a lot of guys in Discord trading these stocks. They were following crypto to the T for like a month or so, and then they just completely decoupled from Bitcoin and they got slaughtered. And a lot of the guys in Discord got wrecked trading those crypto stocks. I've avoided these. I traded CLSK back in the day, and then as soon as we lost on that one, I haven't traded a crypto stock since.
It's clean spark. Send it to 0.
Yeah, dog shit.
Hey, what do you think of CCIV right here?
Let me see. Oh, not too good. Hangman candle yesterday, confirmation today. Probably come back down to the pivot around 24. There is support at 26 on VWAP. If it holds 26, it could go higher. Most likely going back down though. Volume spikes coming in on Monster, or sorry, I always confuse that with Monster. MicroStrategy, MSTR. Volumes.
That's the sailor company, right?
Yeah. Volume spike on TSP as well. Hey Chad, thoughts on IWM? All the indexes look like they're rolling over to me. IWM had a very beautiful breakout. We called this out in Discord when it broke out of that little downtrend, but we didn't really have a whole lot of confirmation. You had a little breakout the next day, but then you didn't really have any confirmation after that. So it looks like they're all rolling over. You can see kind of topping patterns on most of the indexes.
Perfect timing. Your vacation I'm talking about.
Yeah, really.
And Quad Witch. We'll see a lot of rebalancing towards the end of next week and the following.
Yeah, hopefully after quad witching, we see a rotation back into tech, but we've been waiting quite some time for that. This is one of the longest rotations out of tech I've seen in a long time. Typically, rotations out of tech do not last, which you can see historically. If you look at a weekly or monthly chart on any of the big tech companies, the rotations out of them are very, very short-lived. We've been seeing a rotation out of Apple since like August of last year. And then Facebook, same thing, August of last year, but then it finally came back. Same thing with Netflix. Same thing with Amazon. Same thing with Tesla. The only ones that have been fairly immune are Microsoft and Facebook. And they had the rotation, but it was very short. They kind of recovered. Volume spike coming in on MicroStrategy again. Yeah, big volume coming in on this. Another volume spike on WPG and on CVA. What is this chart? This is putting in one of the biggest BART patterns I've ever seen. WPG. This thing could go all the way back to like $13 if it continues the BART. Volume spike on MDB. It's not a bad chart, honestly. So once again, here's your signal for you guys on stream.
It's a good company, Mongo.
Never heard of them. Broke this little downtrend. Little bull div. Confirmation of the 50. Now we're going to the local resistance, which is the pivot.
Where's the next pivot?
339. It's almost there. Very long pivot, so it should be tapped.
If I'm in a buy on fucking Apple just came in.
Nice. Pfizer getting a nice little spike here. Daily looks good on Pfizer, actually. Bouncing right off a pivot. Breaking VWAP. It's actually not a bad chart. I'll add that to my watch list. Mongo's a database. Gotcha. I was thinking of those. Are they called Mongos? The little Starburst like candies. What are those things called? Something with an M. Is it Mongos or Jumbos? Fuck is it? They're really good. You can buy them at 7-Eleven. Mombos. Thank you, Frost. Mombos. Those things are fire. If you guys like soft chew candy, Mombos. Way better than Starburst. And there's the bell, guys. Pretty nasty sell-off, honestly, on most equities. Or I should say most indexes. So biggest things you guys want to keep an eye on are the short squeeze ones that we called out today. TRIT, TR, and then ESPR. Keep an eye on those three for tomorrow and Friday. You could see a short squeeze on those. Keep an eye on Monster. I keep saying Monster. MicroStrategy. Their ticker is Monster. They need to give that to Monster Energy. But keep an eye on MicroStrategy. Breaking this nice accumulation here. Back above VWAP. Back above the pivot. If this can hold above like 515, 525, somewhere around there, it could easily get back to like 600. So definitely keep an eye on that. I think that's pretty much it that I have to watch for the next few days. BGCP looks pretty good. Keep an eye on that. Eli Lilly. We called this out way back when it was about to break 205. That's playing out beautifully. Keep an eye on that one as well. REGN had a nice day. You want to watch that. And that's pretty much it. Keep an eye on INSG still. Might have a local pullback, but the short squeeze is still definitely intact. But alright guys, I'm going to call it on that. Pretty tired. Appreciate you guys being here for the stream. I know it's kind of confusing. I did cancel it, rescheduled it. I will be streaming tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern. I didn't post the analysis last night, but I will be posting the analysis tonight. So be on the lookout for that. Should be around same time, 9-10 o'clock. I'm going to mention most of the names that we mentioned here on stream. Give you guys some levels. If I find any lottos that I like, I'll post them. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Yeah, I could probably give you guys some high risk lottos on the indexes. We'll take a look at those, see if any catch my eye. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to hit that like button on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are new. I stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.